sure this story needs no introduction, because you'll have all seen it in your Facebook and on the television and in the newspapers and everywhere at the moment. And that's, of course, the story of Cecil the Lion. You might as well have seen behind me. It's a little bit irritating because, of course, this isn't a British story, so why is everyone so obsessed with it? You know, nobody gets this bothered about children dying in Syria or anywhere else. It just goes to show, really, how superficial people can be and how they kind of get told what to think all the time rather than looking at either the same issue with more nuance or more important things to cover, to be honest. But essentially, as far as I can make out, this guy shot Cecil the Lion, and he paid, what, $50,000 for the privilege, and some guys who were a bit unscrupulous drove this animal off a protected reserve onto some land which wasn't where he wasn't protected, and the guy, you know, shot it with a bow and arrow, and that was that. You have to ask yourself, do you honestly think, if you're paying $50,000 to do something like that, if somebody said to you, oh, by the way, this is illegal, you would have done it? I don't think so somehow, and I haven't seen any evidence at all yet to suggest that he knew that that's what was going on. But of course it's very unfortunate, and, you know, he may have been a bit ignorant, he may have been a bit naive, etc. But of course everyone's going on about this in the wider context of shooting and hunting in Africa. And I know sort of pillocks like Ricky Gervais, I won't put him behind me for too long because I'll make myself sick when I watch this back, frankly. But prats like him love to just keep posting stuff on social media, making threats about people, saying how he wants to kill people and how he wants to mount their head instead of the animal, and all these really sort of abhorrent language, which in the case of him, by the way, is purely because he wants to self-publicise because his career's going down the toilet. But enough sort of me being bitchy there. But it's true, you know, and I find it quite irritating because he's not looking at the bigger picture here. Because, of course, what has Ricky Gervais done for lions lately? What money has he generated to protect lions or help lions or do anything to do with Africa or any of these species and the environments that they inhabit? What has he done? Nothing. But this guy who shot Cecil the Lion, he paid $50,000 for the privilege. Now, I'm sorry, but people might go on safari and take a few photos, but, you know, well, you all know Tom. I mean, he went on safari for 2 weeks, and I think he said it cost him £500 in Kenya. Well, okay, that means for every single person, like a game hunter like who shot Cecil, you need to have 100 people going on safari to generate the same amount of money. And of course, the people who are doing the, taking them on safari don't necessarily own the land in the first place anyway, so that money isn't even going into conservation. As where if people go there and they pay to shoot an animal like a lion, yeah, I personally wouldn't necessarily want to do that myself. I might even think the guy's a bit unsporting, and maybe even a bit sick in the head if it's a really, easy shot at point blank range with a bow and arrow. It's not sporting, but who cares? Because of him, these animals are being bred and put into the environment, and they're being managed properly, and land is being set aside to raise these animals. The alternative is agriculture. In the West, we have this such sort of patronising look at people in Africa, because we're kind of like, well, obviously you live in Africa and you're a landowner, so you should protect the animals. And I'm like, oh really? Like we do here? Like when we had boars and bears and wolves and other species, what did we do to look after those animals? Nothing. We ploughed the land over. We got rid of all of their environments because we needed to feed ourselves and we needed to make money. And these people in Africa are just the same. Stop holding them to some higher standard, for God's sake. They need to make money. What's the choice? Okay, either big game hunters go there, and that means that those animals are bred and looked after and released into the natural environment and managed and culled where necessary, and the land set aside for them to live on and thrive on, or we stop doing that. And what happens when we stop doing that? They plough it over, they get rid of all of the wilderness, they get rid of all of the predators, and they persecute them to extinction, and they start growing oilseed rape everywhere like we do here to make money. Is that what you want? If you're one of these people who've got a problem with shooting lions, do you want that? Because if you don't want that, there is one other alternative. You start putting your money where your mouth is and start giving these farmers a reason to do something other than canned hunting.